Welcome to Family Gamer TV. As you can see, we have got a brand new exclusive on a Scalextric set. Now you may have seen the Scalextric ARC sets before. These are a combination of using a classic Scalextric track, as you can see we've got set up here, along with an iPad app that tracks your laps, keeps you on track, determines who's winning the races. But this Air ARC version, it's brand new. It'll be coming out imminently. It seems like it will probably be out in the new year, and this adds a whole load of new features. Most importantly perhaps, and particularly for younger families I think, is this. Now this is of course a classic Scalextric controller. You use this to control the speed of your car, but as you can see this one has no cable connected, so that means that if you come off the track, as is wont to happen when you're playing Scalextric in the family, you can keep holding your controller, run, pop the car back on the track, and you've got no problems. Whereas previously, as you can see over there, our old controllers were wired, which meant you had to drop the controller, the wire would drape across the track. It caused all sorts of problems and all sorts of arguments. So in a family, I think that one of the best features of this Air ARC are these controllers. As you can see, you get a couple of controllers in the pack. If you have a look here at the box, we can see we've got a whole bunch of detail. Transform any standard Scalextric set into an ARC Air compatible set. That means you don't need to buy a whole load of new track. You can use your existing track, and you can add in this ARC system app race control, as you can see. Now that was available previously. The Air ARC side of this is absolutely new. Now along with that, if we have a look at the app, there's also some new features. So if we go into Grand Prix here, you can see we have got a whole bunch of settings. Of course you have to select your track, how many drivers, how many laps, whether you have qualifier laps, race end type, jump start penalty if one of you starts too soon. There's a yellow flag entry, which we'll be coming back to later. Fuel usage and tyre wear. So this means that as you race around your circuit, you have to keep an eye on your fuel and also on your tyre. Then you have to pit stop. You have to come into the pits to refuel your car and also to change those tyres. But absolutely new for Air ARC are incidents and weather. Now this means that while you're racing there can be oil spills, there can be all sorts of things happening on the track, and then also weather conditions as well. So as you're racing around, the weather will change. It always starts on dry, but it will then change to be wet, and that means you then need to come into the pit and change into your wet tyres if you're not going to have a penalty in terms of how fast you go. And we've got the start type is live. If we switch that, that means you can't have jump start. So again, with your dead start, there's no power to the track until the lights have fallen to green. So that's nice in the family as well. So that is what's added in Air ARC. There'll also be ARC Pro coming soon as well, and that's where we will get yellow flags, KERS, and a bunch of other options as well. Now if we go into Grand Prix, there's some nice settings on how these cars handle and some things you can do to make it more family friendly. If you go to driver setup, if we go to one of our drivers, we can go to change how the car handles. Now we've got all these different profiles of how the acceleration works. So if you're a real beginner, you want to have not too much acceleration at the beginning of the trigger, so when you're pulling it in, that's not going to change it much, but as soon as you get up to the high end of the trigger, that's when the acceleration really ramps up, so that keeps you safe while you're just going slow. If you are moving down here and you want more acceleration earlier on in that trigger pull, then you've got those options. And if maybe you've got a car where it's really important, highly magnetised, it's really important to get up to that top speed quickly, you can then choose Profile E. That means as soon as you even touch that trigger, you're going to be really ramping up the power. So that's a nice touch as well. If we move back, you can change maximum power. So if you are more of a novice racer, maybe you've got kids in the family who are racing, you can knock their power down. It means that they're less likely to come off the track. Equally, it's a nice way to level the playing field, so that if you've got an expert racer and someone who's just new to Scalextric, you can give the newcomer perhaps more power, so the expert has to work harder to catch up. You've got some fuel loading options here. Now on really long races you may want to start with a lesser load of fuel, because that means your top speed you're allowed to go on your car will be higher because you've got less weight, and so the system simulates that. So there you go, that is how you can set up some drivers, and I think by tweaking some of those settings it gives you a nice way to make Scalextric much more family friendly, and certainly that arc air system does that. Now one thing to bear in mind is that this air arc system isn't like the digital systems we've had previously with Scalextric, so it's currently limited to just 2 cars, whereas those digital setups you could have lane changing and you could have up to 4 races at once, which is really nice. But Arc Air Pro will bring that back in and will combine everything in a super advanced package that has all those features. Not only 4 players against each other, but 6 players with lane changing, with race events, with weather, with pace cars as well, so I'm looking forward to that. But first up, and the first big new advancement from Scalextric in the coming months will be this Arc Air system. Have a look at it. We've obviously looked at setups like Anki Overdrive, like Real FX, and each of them have a benefit. Of course, Scalextric has stood the test of time with its slot racing experience and has many fans, and equally you've likely got a whole load of Scalextric track that you can add to these sets. Anki Overdrive does have that more sort of app-enabled experience. There's more weapons, more upgrades. You've got a freer drive because you're not locked onto the track, and then you've got Real FX, which is more of an RC experience where you're aiming to go around the track and it gives you some assists but isn't really tied to that track. But there you go. I think if you're making a choice between which of these to buy, I would seriously consider saving some money, maybe till after Christmas and this Arc Air system comes out, or just have a close look at these videos, see if you think this is something for you. If you've got Scalextric already, certainly this is something you're going to want to be checking out in detail. You can see that it really adds a lot to the racing, not only those features that we already had in Arc, but things like weather, things like oil slicks and other race events that might happen. It means you have to pay attention. It feels much more like a dynamic race experience. I really like the fact that you can use it with your existing track. That's a really nice touch as well. And also I like the fact that there's an option to have a pace car. So we're quite used to now in games like Anki Overdrive, you bringing in a car to race against. But here we can do this in the race, the pace race, and so if you haven't got anywhere else to race, you want to test out your skills, then you just set up this pace car. So we go to the pace car speed set, we pop them on the track, and then basically we up the speed until we get to the point where our pace car is going, and this is the car that we'll be challenging. So maybe you want him a bit faster, so you want to get him quicker without coming off. We go a bit quicker, and that gives you a really nice challenging experience to battle. Oh, he spun out there. We're covered on that corner. I like the way that the pace car is relatively robust, each of those corners, so we've created quite a nice challenge for us, and we can then take that into the race. So if we then say lock speed, so then go start race, pick up my air controller, watch out for the green lights, and go. Always off to a quick start. Now I'm racing, which is really nice in Scalextric, against a pace car, and I think I've taken the lead. Oh, he gets through that first. Oh no, got stuck here, which means that I can get to it quickly though, because I've just got my hands-free controller. You can see on that race here who's winning. So I'm on lap 2, he's on lap 2, he's just gone into lap 3. I've got some catching up to do. Now can we do this? Let's really press on and see if we can catch up with our race. He's going quite quick. This is a back straight where I can get some speed in. Watch out for that corner. Yes, we're taking him, So there you go. I caught him up. We're both on lap 8. I think I'm taking the lead. You can see I'm in the lead. On to the last lap. And I won. Take that, pace car. And after the race, you can see some more stats. You can see how the race changed, who was in the lead. He took the lead pretty early, but right there, back on, is it lap 8? I took the lead, and you can see our average pace times. Very nice. If we go back, you can see his stats as well. So there you go, that's our look at the Scalextric's Powerbase upgrade kit for Arc Air. Add some nice features, some nice family-friendly racing. as well as some higher end features for those who have played Scalextrics for a bit longer. I think it compares pretty favourably to Anki Overdrive and Real FX. But do have a check out of our other videos that will be coming soon. We'll be getting the kids on it to see what they think, and also looking in more detail at how these different race modes work out. But for now, that's all we've got time for on Family Gamer TV.